Here's an early morning shot of Signal Peak. My brother and I are at the Kofa National Wildlife Refuge here in western Arizona. We parked a good ways away from the actual trailhead on the dirt road, making this a little bit longer of a hike than it can be if you have a good four-wheel drive vehicle with high clearance. But we're gonna hike up the road up to the trail and then take the trail on the northeast side up to the summit. We're not too far from the entrance to the canyon now, and then we'll just continue to follow the road further back into the canyon, and the actual trail is somewhere back there. I was just saying to Patrick how I'm envious of the people with the four-wheel drive and high clearance vehicles, but at the same time, if you actually drive to the trailhead, you miss the approach of the mountain and seeing all these views from on foot. We're in the canyon now, still making our way up the road. It's probably going to be at least another 2 miles to the actual trailhead from here. Here's a view looking out of the mouth of Skull Rock. So somewhere up in that direction is Signal Peak. We think the trailhead is pretty close. Yeah, this is probably the trailhead right here. Looks like it'll be a little bit more level for a while and then just go up steeply somewhere up in there. There's a nice pour off right there. And we were back in the shade now. Trailhead's up this way. It probably goes up to that saddle or slash ridge up there. The trail came up right through there, and then you can kind of pick it out over there on that slope. Then we cut across the wash, and now we're making our way up more solid rock over here. All right, we've reached the saddle up here. We're taking another break. It's a little bit longer of a break than we have been. Some beautiful scenery here. And then the trail continues downhill for just a little bit. Probably wraps around this canyon and then heads up there somewhere. So we're thinking we have about a mile left and 1,000 feet of elevation gain, give or take a little bit on both of those. I think the peak elevation is around 4877 from what I remember seeing, but I could be wrong on that. And then the prominence is around 2,500 feet. That's facing south. I can barely pick out Castle Dome Peak. And this is looking east. It's pretty rugged over there. Not really much to point out now. Just haze. Actually, getting pretty close. It's pretty hazy even closer to us. A cold front came through last night, I think, or something did. It was really windy yesterday. It's still a little bit windy here, but not bad. But if anything, it's probably kicked up more dust. Hopefully the air will clear soon, maybe for our next summit. But we'll just have to enjoy the immediate views. That peak right there is called Summit Peak, which is maybe impossible, but it's definitely a technical climb. At least from this angle. Maybe there's something doable on the backside, but probably not. It's pretty rugged out there. A lot of cool peaks. The one in the middle right now reminds me of Weaver's Needle in the Superstitions. It's really similar. Yeah, we're getting no views whatsoever though, further out. Alright, well, it's chilly up here. It's probably only in the 50s and wind chill makes it probably in the 40s, so we're gonna pack up and start heading back down. We're stopping here and there and admiring some of these points in the canyon. The saddle that we ascended up to after our first climb is just right over there, so it's not too far. Alright, we're back to our first saddle. Now it's about 1,000 feet descent and less than a mile to the road. We were actually off the trail right here on the way up. We were just climbing straight up the wash. It's probably actually may have been better, but sticking to the trail now. There's the saddle up there. So this is where, on the way up, we bear to the right and just kind of climb straight up the rock wash. But the actual trail goes through the little mini forest over here. All right, we just passed through the gate. We're back on the road. We may take a little rest, but we have 4.8 miles back on the dirt road back to the car. We just came across a tarantula here making its way up the road. This is the first time Patrick has seen a tarantula in the wild.
And tarantulas are my favorite animal, by the way.
Yeah, he had a pet tarantula for a lot of years.
This is awesome.
Well, we're basically out of the canyon now. We just have to pass by this big rock and then we'll be done with the canyon, back out into the open desert and have about 2 miles back to the car. So if you have a higher clearance vehicle, you know, this hike will be pretty short. It's only going to be about 4 miles or less if you can make it to the actual trailhead, but we probably could have made it. It's just if our car's only going 4 miles an hour, we might as well just walk anyway. But we actually did scrape a few times or hit a few rocks on the way up, and we both checked out the underside of the car, and it's a Honda CR-V, but it really does not have that much ground clearance. It's more the ground clearance here than the actual four-wheel drive. So that peak you're looking at there is Castle Dome Peak. That's south of here. It's another one of the Arizona 2,000 foot prominence peaks. We were thinking about doing that today. If we could have driven to this trailhead and made this a 4-mile hike instead of a 14-mile hike, we would have had more time. And then we still don't know how close we'll be able to get to that one too. If you can get to the actual trailhead to that one, it's a 6-mile hike, but if we have to do the same thing and park further away, that could end up being a 10-mile hike or a 14-mile hike, so we're gonna have to save it for another day. All right, here's a look back up at Signal Peak. You can't see the actual summit from here. But we ended up doing 13.4 miles in about 5 hours and 50 minutes. We didn't spend too much time on the summit, just because it was pretty cold and windy up there and the views weren't that great. But it was a fun hike, definitely a good challenge too. It was fun going up the canyon, leading up to the peak. About 2,000 feet of elevation gain in less than 2 miles, which is good. So that's it from the Kofa National Wildlife Refuge here in Western Arizona. Thanks for watching.